Hey everybody, it's Tim back with a weekly check-in on my fitness and training vlog here on the GymCrafter Training YouTube channel. Thanks for joining back in. If you haven't caught the past videos, this is where I check in every week as I try to not be fat and out of shape as a 55-year-old. And so let's check in this week to see how I'm doing. Today is Monday, January 26th, 2026. I just finished up week 2 of this journey that I'm on, and let's check in. So as you guys know, if you've been following along, fast food has been one of my Achilles heels. Turns out that by eliminating all fast food, I was worried about, how do I cut down from 4,500 to 6,000 calories a day to even just 4,000 calories a day? And I'm assuming we're going to go lower than that at some point. Hopefully we'll go lower than that at some point because I'm not losing any weight yet. But what we're trying to do is build the habit. And one of the habits I need to build is to not drive through the drive-through. So turns out that if I get rid of fast food, under 4,000 is no problem at all. I'm actually been closer to 3,000 calories a day, and I literally haven't changed much else about how I eat other than just no fast food. So that's been really good. Tracking calories and macro factor has been really important. It's a second nature thing now. I've talked about this before. There are some things that we just have to do. I didn't mention this last week, but I should have. There's different aspects of training, and one of those aspects is zone 2 training. Like zone 2 training is important as we age. It is not an optional thing. We've got to find a way to like it. We've got to find a method of doing it that we like. And I'm going to have a playlist up eventually here on the channel that will kind of go over zone 2 and cardio and all the different types of training that we need to do as we get older. But it's just something we have to do. It's not, one of the struggles I have with my parents, for example, is I'm always asking them to go walk. And the answer is, oh, well, we took a walk last Sunday. It's like, you need to walk a bunch of times a week, every week for the rest of your life. So the same thing with tracking calories. Now, that's not a rest of your life thing, but it is a thing, and I'll keep saying this, that we have to do for a while. As we're trying to get our nutrition under control, as we're trying to get our body fat under control, we have to know what's going into our body. And the only way to do that is to track. You cannot eyeball it. You cannot do it by intuition. You cannot do it by, I hear a lot of people online go, "Oh, you just eat till you're satisfied, right? Just eat till you're satisfied." It's like, okay, that's great if you have a military level of self-control and a complete encyclopedic knowledge of how much calories is in everything, which none of us do. So super important to track. And that has been one of the things I realized this week is once you do it for and I've tracked calories on and off for many, many, many years, but I realized getting back into it recently, once you do it for about 2 weeks, it stops being a pain in the butt and it just starts becoming like a regular thing that you do. I dated a girl for a while who liked to post her food on Instagram, right? So anytime we went out to eat, the first thing we did was feed the camera first, she called it. It's like, we got to take a picture of the food. And to me, it's like, oh my God, I just want to eat. Can we please? This is so stupid. But with her, it was just this automatic thing that she did before she ate. And that's kind of how I look at tracking calories is it's just at this point, it's just an automatic thing that I do either before or after I eat. So that's helpful. Now, one of the things that's nice is that tracking food that you make is much easier than trying to track fast food. For something that is real important for you guys to know, the FDA actually allows restaurants to be off by as much as 25%. So for example, if they tell you that something is a meal is 1,000 calories, it could actually be 1,250 calories and probably is because the whole point of the things that the restaurants put on their menus is they don't want you not to order stuff. So they're going to err on the lower side. They also measure those based on a certain portion. And the guy in the back in the kitchen isn't weighing out your portion, right? So odds are you're going to get more food. So 1,000 calorie meal on a menu could be like a 1,500 calorie meal. Macro Factor, one of the reasons I like using it is it's got this little AI app where you can like tap a button and then just take a picture. And it kind of looks at what the portion size is. And it does a pretty good job. So I would go off of the tracking app and not the menu. But neither here nor there. The nice thing about tracking when you cook is that it's easier, right? You know exactly how much food you put in each thing. So this week I started something that I've been fighting for a long time, but that is going to be, I think is going to be really important. That's meal prepping. Meal prepping is something that I've always fought. For those of you who don't know what meal prepping is, it's basically where you take a day a week and you cook all of your meals for the week and you either freeze them or you put them in the refrigerator. That way you know exactly what you're eating for lunch, you know exactly what you're eating for dinner. And for me, Since my weak point is staying out of drive-throughs, one of the reasons I would always go through a drive-through is I dreaded cooking when I got home. It wasn't that I didn't want to eat at home for the most part, or that I really wanted a Big Mac, although I really did usually want a Big Mac. But I dreaded cooking when I got home, especially coming home after like an away basketball game that I would coach, driving an hour home, getting home at 8 or 9 at night. Like I just needed to eat. So by meal prepping, it allows me to have food in the fridge that I can just reheat and cook so that it's there for me. But also I know exactly what the calories and protein content of each of those meals is. So what I've done is I've started doing that. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not a big fan, but it's one of those things that I'm happy that I did it, but I'm not necessarily happy that I'm doing it while I'm doing it. So I did start meal prepping. I really suck at it right now, but hopefully I'll get better at it and hopefully it will become more of a habit. But that's something I'm going to struggle with. But I would tell you that if you struggle with your nutrition, that learning to meal prep and finding just a handful of meals that you really like, even if you could meal prep breakfast and lunch and just get those prepped so that they're the same every day and you know exactly what your macros are. Again, macros being all we're tracking is calories and protein, but that you know you've got the right amount of calories and protein in those two meals. Then all you have to kind of figure out is dinner. And even that I think is a win. Another update this week is while I'm still sore from working out, I am significantly less sore than I was last week. And this is just giving you guys hope. Again, if you haven't trained before, if you haven't done resistance training, and I'm going to throw this other one in, there's some things that we have to do. And resistance training is one of them. I've got a lot of people who I deal with as clients who are like, oh, do we have to lift weights? Yeah. Yes, you have to lift weights. It is a non-negotiable thing. I'll have some playlists up as to why that's important, and we'll talk a lot about that as time goes on this vlog. Lifting weights, zone 2, cardio, eating the right amount of calories. Like those are all things that if we want to grow old and be capable adults and be capable old people and be strong and healthy and be able to recover from illness and be able to recover from injury and to be able to get down and play with your grandkids and be able to pick them up off the floor and do all the things you're going to want to do as you get older. There are some things that are just going to be parts of our lives growing up and growing older, and resistance training, cardio, and eating an appropriate amount of calories and protein are three of those things. But that was a victory this week, is that the DOMS, the delayed onset muscle soreness, is getting better. Tracking calories is easier. Also, overall, I'm kind of getting in the swing of building this lifestyle of doing things on a certain day at a certain time, which for me, the schedule really, really helps. Challenges this week, what I realized is that 45 minutes of zone 2 is way more than I used to do. So I have two Australian cattle dogs. Australian cattle dogs are working dogs. So if you're a dog owner, you know what I'm talking about. Working breeds need a ton of exercise. And letting them out in the yard is not exercise. Exercise is so my dog park is a 2 mile hike all the way around through woods and hills. And it's awesome. It's a great place. It's like a forest reserve, but just for people with dogs. It's awesome. So we would go there every day anyway. I'm used to going there. What I thought in my head was going there for 45 minutes to an hour turns out was going there for 15 to 20 minutes, and actually timing myself and making sure that I stuck to my 45 minutes. Turns out that's a lot more than I was used to. So I've had to really find myself pushing through the last, right now, probably 20 minutes or so of those 45 minutes. Over the last week, I really found myself at about the 20 to 25 minute mark. I'm like, oh, all right, that's enough of this. I need to head back to the car. But just pushing through, again, not pushing too hard. One of the things that I still was doing was I was pushing myself too hard, keeping an eye on my heart rate and keeping an eye on my breathing so that I'm just in zone 2. Zone 2 is just, it's where your heart gets a workout. We're not trying to be gassed and out of breath and drenched in sweat, although drenched in sweat right now is a thing for me. It is super cold out here in Chicago right now. It is in the single digits most days, if not negative. So it has been a little bit of a challenge to get there and do that. But that's been one of the challenges. When it is below 0, my dogs can go out in the cold down to about 8 or 9 degrees. Once it's below that, they cannot go for those long walks. It hurts their paws. It hurts my paws. So in my house, I have what's called a walking pad. I am not a runner. I don't have a treadmill. I don't want a treadmill. I don't want to run unless somebody's chasing me. And even then, I'm going to weigh whether or not I can actually beat them up instead of run away from them. So I do not like to run. But what I do have in my house is what's called a walking pad. And that walking pad lives right behind me in the corner here. And what that allows me to do is that allows me to get on that thing for 45 minutes and do my zone 2 if I need to. And it is come in handy. So if you live in an area, and I know right now a lot of America is in this space where the temperatures are just prohibitive for going outside. The amount of snow on the ground is prohibitive. Having something just basic like a walking pad. I think this one costs like $300 or $400. I have a review of it on my other channel, the GymCrafter channel. I really want to stay away from putting links and descriptions for you guys to click on and things. I just want to have you guys kind of walk with me here. So, but a walking pad of some type. I would stay away from the super cheap ones on Amazon, the Sunny Healths and things like that. But Merach, M-E-R-A-C-H is the name of the brand. They make some good stuff. It's a few $100s, but really good thing that has saved my bacon over the last week, because I definitely don't want to start skipping workouts in the second week of kind of this journey. Another one is I did not stay out of drive-throughs completely. I did drive through McDonald's and got a double cheeseburger once because I was out for a basketball game. I was starving. I hadn't eaten dinner. I tried to keep it reasonable. I did stay within my calorie and protein goals, but I did fail. But what that did allow me to see is that I need to figure out some type of portable snack I can bring with me, whether that's bringing with me protein bars. I personally like what are called David bars. I like those. Find a protein bar that you like. Find some type of a snack that you like. I like beef jerky a lot. Whatever it happens to be, what I've realized is that if I'm going to leave the house and know that I'm not going to be back until at or after a mealtime, that just the way that I get as far as hunger goes, I need to bring a snack. So that was a challenge for me, is I really need to have better forethought into bringing some food with me in case I get hungry, instead of just, when I left, what happened was I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. I'll have the willpower. And I think I mentioned in the last video that my car has this chip in it that automatically goes to drive-through. So I already failed there, but like I said, the important thing was that I stayed within my calories and protein goal, and I now have some protein bars in my car. So just in case that doesn't happen again. As far as wins this week, movement feels so much better in the gym. What you'll find if you're just getting back to strength training or just getting into strength training, stability is a thing. Moving weight around, and even if it's just resistance bands or body weight exercises. Like when I say resistance training, I don't mean throw a heavy barbell on your back and start squatting 500 pounds. It's not what I mean. I mean moving your body through space with something to resist it, including maybe itself. This could be push-ups, body weight squats, pull-ups, things like that. So what you'll find when you start back is that your stabilizer muscles are all gone or underdeveloped. So it becomes hard to keep yourself stable, and it becomes a lot harder to do certain movements. Push-ups are a great example. When you don't have all the stabilizer muscles kind of firing and built, and also your CNS, your central nervous system, kind of adapted to doing movements like this, they're a little bit hard. So what you find over the first, I would say probably 2 to 4 weeks of strength training and resistance training, is that you'll feel that stability start to develop. And one of my wins was I really felt a little bit better as far as stability. It's not all the way back the way it should be, but that was nice to see those changes. And the reason I bring that up is it's important as you go on this journey to recognize the little changes that are happening. It's hard, it's easy to get on the scale. And again, 2 weeks in, I've lost 0 pounds. So it's easy to get discouraged by going, what's going on? I thought I was doing this to lose body fat. Why aren't I losing body fat? Oh, this is horrible. And in reality, you need to focus on the wins. And the wins are, if you're getting stronger, you're winning. We're going to talk about the scale in another episode, and I'm going to make a whole playlist about this type of a thing, about how to measure your progress. Measuring your progress by the number on the scale is not a good way to measure your progress. So I know that if I put in the inputs, the output of the scale will eventually go where I need it to go. But I need to look at the other outputs that are happening and celebrate those. And one of those was moving better in the gym. And another one of those is just stability coming back. Also, my third zone 2 last week finally was at a point where I didn't want I didn't want to die at the end. It's not that bad. It wasn't like I wanted to pass out and die, but it was rough, right? Like it was a little tough for me to just keep pushing through. And what you'll find is that it doesn't take very long for your body to adapt to what you're asking it to do. Again, other videos and other series I'll put out elsewhere on the channel, we'll talk about this, but your body is an adaptation machine. Your body will very quickly adapt to what you are asking it to do on a regular and consistent basis. As soon as your body figures out, oh, this idiot's going to do this pretty regularly now. We probably need to get better at it, right? Like if it thinks you're only going to do it once or twice, it's not going to get better. But if it thinks you're going to do it consistently, then it will start to make things easier on you by building the systems and energy systems and our cardiovascular capacity and muscle capacity to do the things that you're asking it to do. This is why we get stronger if we resistance train over time. That was another nice win, is that zone 2 was feeling better. And there you have it. There's my week 2 wrap up. As usual, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I answer all of the comments on all of my YouTube videos on both of my channels. So please let me know what questions you have, what concerns you have. I'm happy to help out if I can. And until the next video, or until next week's wrap up, I'm Tim with the GymCrafter Training Channel.